much girare.
What?
Girare! Well, I am beyond nervous. I'm trying to just set everything up. Oh my god, Maz is here. Oh my god, Maz is literally here. Holy shit, guys! Maz is here! Vai, mamat! Welcome back, everybody. What? Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Shanti Monty. Welcome back to the Room 104 podcast. We've got a big doozy one today. We got a heavy hitter as a guest. We have the king himself. We have an actor, writer, producer. He's done so many stand-up specials. I think he has his seventh one came out back in 2023. And he is on tour right now as we speak. MAZ JOBRANI. MAZ!
Hey.
Welcome to the Room 104 podcast. Oh my God, I cannot believe we got you on. We have a mutual friend of ours that kind of made this happen. I'm very curious to know, what did he tell you about this podcast?
He just reached out to me. Our friend Dara, who is the same name as my son, by the way.
Oh, okay.
He's salt of the earth, great guy. He reached out to me. He said, my friend's son has a podcast and he'd like to have you on. And I said, sure, so, I appreciate Dara. So if he makes the call, I'm going to come through for him and for you. And I'm happy we did it, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I know you got a lot of, you're on tour right now as we speak, correct? So you are you in LA right now, or are you in?
I'm in LA right now. I'll be in Calgary this weekend. I'll be in Vancouver next week. I'll be in Glendale. I'll be in Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto. I'm just traveling a lot because it's kind of touring season. It's seasonal in a way, but where usually in the summer it slows down a little bit. Around the holidays, after the holidays, it slows down a little bit. But now we're picking back up. So
okay.
Constantly working, my friend.
That's
Frequent
good.
flyer miles.
Good. That's good. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit different on this podcast because I know that you've already gone through so many. We've had the same old questions like, oh, how was it, being a comedian when you were a kid? You grew up in a Middle Eastern family. So I'm going to try to spice things up a little bit for you. So how was that when you were a Middle Eastern family? When did you know that you were destined to be a comedian, to do what you're doing today?
I was a big fan of Eddie Murphy's. I wanted to do it. I basically, I did the musical in middle school, and I loved being on stage. And having immigrant parents, that wasn't a thing that they understood and they didn't encourage. I mean, we live in a different world now where you, how old are you?
I'm 26.
As a 26-year-old, you could have a podcast, you could say, I'm going to go for it. And your parents might say, oh, I've heard of this thing. Back then, making it in Hollywood or doing anything like that was, it was so foreign to them. And it was foreign to me. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I liked being on stage. So at a young age, I knew I felt alive on stage, but it just took a lot of back and forth to gain the confidence to be able to finally go for it.
Got it. I can relate to you on this level because, me being a first generation Armenian American, that was also the same thing on our end because I was also involved in theater. I was involved with acting when I was a kid. And it was, I didn't get the treatment of like, oh, you can't do that. You need to pick a doctor. You need to be an engineer. You need to be this. It was more so like, do it, but don't make it a career out of it. Did your parents kind of also push you down that path too? Did they allow you to continue doing that?
At one point, when I kept saying I want to do it, I kept wanted to do it. My mom had said, "Why don't you just become a lawyer and then you just do comedy on the side?"
Right.
Like she was, So early on, it was, "Don't do it. You should go do something that's got a good reputation and is secure. Go do that." And then once they saw that I kept saying, "I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it," then they came up with these compromises. I think your parents want what's best for you. They just don't know, what your passion is. I always use the analogy of when you're a passenger in a car and the driver is driving, if they make a fast turn or they go fast, you're putting your hand on the dashboard, you're worried.
Yeah.
But the driver feels in control. And so our relationship with our parents is we're the drivers and we feel in control, but our parents are constantly nervous. And so I am all for um, letting those rails go. Like I say, go for it. If you want to go, Shant, and try to become the number one podcast in the world, go for it.
Yeah.
But put your, go 110%, go hard. Put in the time, put in the effort, put in the production, all that.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I think that's the mindset that I come from, rather than saying, I don't know, the odds of you making it are less than 1%. Why would you do it?
Yeah.
That to me is no way to live.
If you had that mindset, then you wouldn't really be able to do anything, right? So like if you get up in the
Well,
morning and you're always
a
thinking
lot of
about the
people,
risks.
yeah, I know a lot of people, I think, choose the more secure route, and I don't blame them.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that have talents and they have dreams of being a musician, a painter, an architect, whatever, traveling the world, whatever it is, and they think, oh my gosh, if I do it, then this is going to happen, and then I'll never, have a secure lifestyle. And then I think sometimes, especially when you're younger, which is when you should be doing these things.
Right.
Because when you're younger, if you mess up, if you tomorrow were to say, "Hey, I'm gonna quit everything and just go get a backpack and travel the world," you could do it at 26, and then come back, and then say, "Oh, now I'm gonna get a job and go do other stuff and make money and raise a family." But if you don't do it at 26 and it's always something you wanted to do, then you turn 50 and you go, I want to do it now, but now you have a wife and kids and all that stuff. So I'm all for just going for it, man. You really got to go for it, whatever it is. And so,
Oh
like I
yeah.
said, I don't blame I don't blame parents. I think a lot of parents want what's best for their kids,
Yeah.
but I think that fear comes in. What if you don't make it? What if the odds are so low? The odds of having a restaurant be successful are very low.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go, I want to open up a restaurant. I want to open up a coffee shop.
Right.
You know, so making it in this business is the same. The odds are very low, but if you love it, you'll put in the time. You'll sit through the hard times,
Yeah.
and hopefully you'll find success. And even if you don't find financial success, I think you will have mental success. That at least you tried it.
Yeah. 100%. I completely agree with your sentiment. I completely agree with. Yeah. There are a bunch of kids right now that I know who are struggling to like get into, let's say, the music industry, who are trying to get into entertainment, or whether it's entertainment in the form of like acting, screenwriting, directing, podcasting. I've seen a lot of people even come and sit in these chairs. I mean, you obviously can't see it from here, but they come into these chairs and they talk about their passions in entertainment, their passions in whatever venture they want to get into. And none of them talk about like the risks of it. And you can't really talk about the risks of it because that's when you yourself kill your dream, right? So you have to almost be delusional in a way to get what you really want, because that's the only form of intrinsic motivation that's going to push you to get to where you're actually going to be. And that's why you're at where you're at right now, you could say, right?
Yeah, I think you have to be delusional for sure, a little bit, because again, if you're practical, you're not going anywhere. And
Yeah.
if you're doing anything because you say, oh, this is how I'm gonna, this if your goal is what will quote unquote make you happy,
Mm-hmm.
then I say find something where the process makes you happy and the goal is icing on the cake.
Right.
So if the goal is like, oh, I want to be rich, or I want to win the Academy Award, or I want to whatever that goal is, I want to be the top comedian in the country. Well, that's all good. There's going to be other factors that will dictate whether that happens or not. But if you're enjoying the way along the way, then when you get that goal, you go, oh wow, I had a great time, and it's icing on the cake.
Yep.
Versus if you get into it going like, I won't be happy until I win the Academy Award,
Right.
then don't get into it,
Yep.
because your odds are very low for that. And no
100%.
matter how delusional you are, you shouldn't do that.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
when you were, you said you would perform on stage, and you would act a lot when you were a kid, right? This was, I'm assuming, in middle school, high school, right? Back,
Exactly. Yeah.
was
Middle
it
school,
here
high
or
school. Yeah.
Tehran? When did you come to
No,
America?
I left Iran at the age of 6, and I
Okay.
grew up in Northern California.
Oh,
So it
okay.
was all in Northern California, and I didn't grow up around. We had some Iranian friends growing up. My parents obviously had Iranian friends, and I had a few friends that were Iranian as well. But it wasn't anything like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends were just American friends. The culture I grew up with was an American culture. Um, that first musical that I was in was called The Boyfriend. It was a musical from like the 40s or something.
Oh,
And then
damn.
I played Little Abner in another musical
Mm,
where I was the lead of it. So it was all like with my American influenced friends,
right.
teachers, all that stuff. There
Right.
wasn't any Iranian in the midst who goes, don't do this, except for my parents.
Yeah.
So I was just doing my thing. And to me, my parents were like, I was like, oh, these guys are fresh off the boat. Like I
Right.
judge
Right.
my
Right.
own
Right.
parents more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I grew up.
I'm gonna ask you to paint a picture for me. So you're in high school, and you graduate. So do you stop doing theater at this point and go straight into comedy? I'm trying to find that exact mark in your timeline.
No, I didn't do. I didn't. So what happened was when I was in high school, we had a really good theater program,
Okay.
and they had a talent show. They said, "Does anybody want to try anything?" And I said, "Oh, I'll do stand up." And I tried writing stand up, and I would write the set, and I thought it was really funny, and then I would read it the next day, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is horrible." So I was really, I didn't. First of all, I didn't understand comedy. Stand up comedy is not about the one performance. Stand up comedy is an ongoing work in progress, and that's why in stand up, I always tell people if you're really serious about it, you got to get on stage as much as you can, write as much as you can. And I mean, like 5 to 10 times a week, you need to get on a stage, whether it's at a coffee shop, church basement, wherever you go, get on stage, get on stage, get on stage to the point where like you might have a bad set. And then if you have another set that night, well, maybe that'll go differently. Or maybe you have two bad sets, but you're going to have it the next night. So you just got to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that, and I was young, and I was insecure about what I was doing. So I signed up to do it, and then I chickened out. I didn't do it. Then I continued to do plays. Then I went to undergrad and I studied political science. And while I was there, I tried to get into an acting class. I didn't get into the acting class. And then my senior year in college, I did take an acting class. And again, that teacher, just like my high school teacher, just like my junior high school director for my musicals, they all would tell me, "Hey, you're good at this. You should do this." And I was like, "Wow, all the people that are in this world are telling me to do it, but my parents are saying don't, and my
Right.
path is different." And then I entered a comedy competition. This was my senior year in college, and again, that competition got canceled. But wrote I wrote a little act around it.
Okay.
So I did a couple of open mics with it, and then I didn't know what to do with it because it wasn't going to be my career. I was going to either be a lawyer or I was going to go be a professor.
Right.
I got into a PhD program in political science to become a professor.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to do the PhD program, it was at UCLA. I was like, I wonder if they have a play I can audition for. So I went on audition for the play. I got into the play.
Oh, okay.
So by night, I'd be doing the play at UCLA and loving it. And by day, I go to my political science classes, and I was like, this is not for me.
Right.
So I dropped out of the political science program, went and got a job in advertising just to have like a day job. Started doing plays again on the side just to have fun. And it wasn't a career choice. And I was in my mid 20s. I was 26 years old, actually, your age. And
Shit.
I
Okay.
thought what I would do is I would work in advertising, save some money, and then in my 30s, I would go for it.
Right.
So I was at the advertising agency, and there was a gentleman there by the name of Joe Rhine,
Okay.
who was a very good, encouraging human being, and he saw uh, the play I was doing. It was a comedy, and he saw a little bit of it, and he goes, "Hey, you're funny. Have you ever thought about doing this?" I said, "Joe, when I was a kid, I wanted to do it. Then again in high school, then again in college, and my parents said no." And I said, "I'm going to save some money, and when I'm 30, I'm going to really go for it." And he goes, "Listen, I'm in my mid 60s right now. when I was in my 20s, there were some things I wanted to do, and I just never got around to doing it. So he goes, if you really want to do it, you should go for it. And so that was my one of my light bulb moments, and I decided to enroll in some improv comedy classes, and there I found a teacher who taught stand-up comedy, and I enrolled in her classes, and then I went from there, and I haven't stopped. That was
Wow.
26 years ago.
20, and you were 26 at the time when you did all this?
Yeah, 26.
Shit.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um wow. Okay, cuz that just opened up my eyes cuz I'm kind of in a similar situation right now where uh I'm in my third master's program at USC because I loved psychology from since I was in high school, but I still had the drive to go into acting and entertainment, and I just couldn't get rid of that. I was born with that, I guess you could say. Um, and I went to see some for my undergrad for my bachelor's in psychology. Went to UC Irvine for my master's in legal and forensic psychology. Went to Pepperdine for master's in applied behavior analysis, and everything was like I was primed and ready to go into like law enforcement and to be a whether it was a police psychologist or an FBI agent therapist, and then work with kids who were in a judicial system who were special needs that didn't get any of the who didn't understand like client assent versus consent like in court. I wanted to help those people out, but then the more I got into it, the more the back of my brain was just itching, like get on stage, get on stage, get on stage. So it's very interesting hearing from a legend like yourself, and I'm not saying this to just blow smoke up your ass, but I'm just saying this like it's very interesting because I always thought I was alone on this, and then for someone who came from a similar, took the same footsteps almost, it's very reassuring for somebody like me who comes in and just out of nowhere listening to someone who's really so many stand-up specials and has been on the screen like Friday After Next when I was a kid watching you in that movie. Like it's just crazy to see how you really aren't alone on that. You
Yeah,
really
no, I
aren't.
think the more you talk about these types of things, the more you realize more people go through it.
Yep.
A lot of people have dreams that they don't follow. A lot of people have dreams that they're discouraged from following.
Right.
And so whether that's acting or like I said traveling or whatever it is, music, whatever it is. And so I tell people, I go, listen, not everyone's got to be Timothy Chalamet. Not everyone's going to
Yeah.
win an Academy Award.
Yeah.
But if you really love it, if you really love acting, go sign up in your local theater and go do a play. If you really want to try stand up, go get on stage and try and do some open mics to see if you really love it. Because also, by the way, you could think that you love it because you're watching people that you enjoy, but then
Yeah.
when you go try it, you go, "Oh my God, this is not for me."
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that's really a big thing about it. I remember early on, I would have some parents come up to me at some of these events that I'd be hosting, and they'd say, "Oh, my kid wants to be an actor," and I'd say, "Oh, that's great. Have them go do the school play." And they were like, "No, they want to be an actor." I go, "Yeah, do the play." And they go, "No, they want to be on, you know." They want to, well, that's the thing. They said they want to be on TV. And I go, oh, your kid doesn't want to be an actor. Your kid wants to be famous. And I
Yeah.
said, that's the difference. If you want to just do it because you want to be famous, then maybe your kid doesn't like it. But if you go get on stage, try it and go, oh my God, I really love this, then you take that next step.
Got it. Maz, have you had anybody come up to you like some of those parents like try to like I guess in a way sweet talk you into connecting the kid with like these higher executive type positions? Like as you said just
Not
now.
not I mean, I've had people ask me things, not necessarily. One parent reached out one time. She said her son was like in music or something, and she wanted
Okay.
me to connect the son. I said, I don't have that connection, and I will every couple months I get an email or a message on Instagram. Someone says I've written a movie. Can you help me make it? And I just respond. I go, look, if I had a production company and a budget, maybe I could look at this. I don't. I mean, it's a tough road. People think just because you're in the industry that you're just left and right getting things made,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we're
yeah.
all in the same boat. It's very competitive.
100%.
It continues to be competitive, and the
Mhm.
best thing you can do is create content for as cheap as possible and hope that it gets seen by the most people, and then maybe you'll be able to get someone's attention that has a production company that says, let's do the thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I just give the same advice. Get on stage as much as you can, write as much as you can. Hey, can my kid or someone people say, can I open for you on the road? I say no, because you haven't done it. If you've done it and I see you out and about and you're doing great, sure, I'll give you a few minutes.
Hmm.
Um, but you got to put in the work and you got to
100%.
enjoy the work.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
100%. Transitioning back to your early days of stand-up comedy, because I know your last stand-up special, you filmed it at the Comedy Store, correct? And that
Hmm.
was that where you started off, or was it
Yeah,
more of like,
you first start with what's called open mics, which is like,
yeah,
they have them all over the place.
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah, yeah.
there was a coffee shop. You'd go, you'd pay $5. They'd give you a cup of coffee and 3 minutes on stage.
Right,
And everybody in the audience was there to perform, whether it was comedy, music, poetry. You sit around, watch each other, you perform.
right,
Then you had something called bringer shows. Bringer shows are where a booker says, I'm going to book you and five other comedians, and we're each going to bring four people. And then that'll fill the room or whatever.
gotcha.
We'll each bring 10 people, whatever that is. So that's a bringer show. That's where we started. And then eventually, you want to become a regular at the clubs. And so the Comedy Store was the first club where I became a regular, which
Mhm.
means now the owner has seen you. She's made you a quote unquote regular, which means that they'll put you up 2, 3 times a week. And again, early on, because I'm new and you have all these superstars, like this is the comedy club where, Jim Carrey and David Letterman and Richard
Yeah, yeah,
Pryor
yeah,
and
yeah,
Eddie
yeah.
Murphy, all the biggest legends had gone through there. So they're not going to give me the 10 o'clock spot that's the hottest spot. They're going to give me the 12:30 in the morning spot. And then I'm getting ready to go on stage, and then somebody comes up like Andrew Dice Clay or Paul Mooney or Eddie Griffin or at the time Carlos Mencia. Somebody would come up and say, "Hey, I want to go next,"
And
and they
they
would throw
bump
them
you,
up
huh?
because they're stars. They'd bump you, and then you
Yeah.
end up getting on stage at like 1:30 in the morning in front of three people.
S-
But that's how you grow. Like,
Yeah,
and by the way, that's where you realize that you really love it, because I would hang back and watch and then go up and do my time. As
right,
opposed to there's guys I started out with back then who their ego or maybe their lifestyle got in the way and they said, I can't do this.
right.
And they stopped.
What was the time interval between when you had just got into your acting classes and you had done your open mics? What was the time frame between that and your first, let's say, show at the Comedy Cellar?
My it was a comedy store.
Comedy Store, not Comedy Cellar. My bad.
Yeah, my ascension, let's say, was pretty fast. I took the classes, I think it was like late spring, early summer of 1998.
Okay.
And I just started going, going, going. And then I think by 1999, and I'm always like kick myself because I can't find the exact date of when I first got passed. And I remember the being passed, but I don't remember the date. And it's sometime in 1999, probably like end of 1999 or towards the end of 1999. So about a year and a half in, I am now a regular.
Right.
And so I rose pretty fast to become a regular. But again, it was, I wasn't good by any means. I
Right.
was learning.
Right. 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 Right.
So yeah, it was fun times, man.
You had Mitzi Shore at the time was still handling the Comedy Store, correct? So
Yeah, she was the owner of the Comedy Store, Pauly Shore's mother.
yeah.
She was a legend. Everybody loved her, and she, created this mecca of comedy. It's a amazing club. It's got the main room, which is the big room. It's got the original room, which is the dark room where you work stuff out, and then it's got the what you call it, the belly room,
The
which
belly
is
room,
an
yeah.
upstairs room. Yeah, and it's just I don't know. It's like it's home. I really love it. I love it, and I've had so many good nights there, and yeah, it's where I like to. I feel good there.
A lot of comedians say the same thing. That club has such a what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? They have such an if it was a school, I would say the alumni there that came out from the Comedy Store is just vast. I mean, you said it yourself. You said Jim Carrey. You had Andrew Dice Clay coming out of there during
Yeah.
your time when you were starting out. who were the top dogs that were there?
Well, when we first started out, there was, Joe Rogan was there, Joey Diaz was
Okay.
there. I remember Andrew Dice
Ooh.
Clay was one of the guys that was, still coming and killing it. I remember one night, George Carlin was doing shows there. I mean, it
Oh
was
shit.
pretty magical. Yeah. So you would see some of the, we saw Robin Williams did some shows there.
Oh
And
yeah,
then,
I remember he
well,
used
he
to go down
started
there.
there too. Yeah. He started there too. He grew, I mean, he started in San Francisco, but then he became,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he grew over there. So all of those guys, and then I started out back then, and now you got guys like Sebastian Maniscalco that I started
Maniscalco.
with, who's killing it.
Yep.
You got guys like Sam Tripoli. You got guys like trying to think like I remember like Whitney Cummings coming for the early on. Al Madrigal.
Was Bobby Lee with
Who
a
else?
lot one of those people
Bobby
too?
Lee.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee was one of the guys. Ari Shafir. I mean, a lot of guys went through that club, and it
Yeah.
was great because you were up against the best of the best, all the time, and it continues to be that. Like people, if you go to the Comedy Store and you see a show, you're seeing some of the best writers.
Oh yeah.
You're seeing, the Ali Wong, Laurie Kilmartin. You're seeing just all these people that are amazing writers, amazing performers. So yeah, it's always been an amazing place, man.
Yeah, no, every comedian I've heard talk about the Comedy Store, they describe it as sort of like this ethereal place where it's this ground where everyone grew, and it's like the sense of community that they have. It just seems magical. You have to be a part of it, especially those people that watched Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz and Bobby Lee and Al Madrigal and all those guys come up. They got to see that star be born, so to speak, and to grow. Like Sebastian Maniscalco, who's one of my favorite comedians. I mean, everybody loves Sebastian Maniscalco, but just to see what that place did for all these comedians is just so magical. And I didn't know that you were actually there. I didn't know that you had started. Not, I didn't say you started. You obviously didn't start there, but that's where you kind of learned how to. You groomed yourself to be
Absolutely,
a
yeah. No,
stand-up comedian.
that's where we all grew up. Like if you're an LA comic, that's that, and then eventually, the Laugh
Laugh
Factory, and then
Factory.
yeah, and that's another place we'd hang out, and
Haha. Was
then
the
the
haha a big
Improv.
one?
Haha was always the one in kind of like towards the valley in North Hollywood, and I
Yeah.
love those guys. I love Jack and Terry and Jack Jr. They're amazing, and so Haha was another spot that you would, to the point that I said earlier, get on stage as much as you can, write as much as you
No,
can. So
100%. Yeah.
there's nights where you'd say, okay, I have 3 sets tonight. I'm going to do the store, then the factory, then go over the hill to Haha,
Yeah.
and you do 3 sets in a night. There
Yep.
was coming out of the pandemic. I remember one night because there was all of a sudden there was all these different places that were doing comedy shows. One night I had like 7 spots around Los Angeles, and it
Oof.
started at like whatever the time was. I was just driving around, jumping on stage, and it was great. It was
How
fun.
long were these? Were like half hour sets,
No,
hour
when
sets?
you do spots in town, you do 15 to 20 minutes
15 to 20.
normally.
Okay.
When you headline, you do an hour, but when
Got it.
you're, and that's usually on the road, or if you're doing a bigger show in LA, you headline and you do your hour. But other than that, it's what's called continuous comedy. So you do 15 to 20 minutes. Matter of fact, I've had people, come see me at the factory or the store, and they see me do 15 or 20 minutes, and then they'll come up afterwards and be like, why didn't you go any longer? And I go, it's not my show. It's
Yeah.
continuous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You got to come to my show. So
Yeah. It's a lineup. My very first stand-up show of yours that I watched was the one where you had in Stockholm, Sweden. And I remember when I
yeah.
came home from school, I forgot the name of the stand-up.
I come in peace.
I
I
come in
come
peace.
in
There you
peace.
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the flower, right? In the cover
Yeah.
photo. Yeah. So I remember coming home from school, and I think at the time, this might have been 2014, 2013, somewhere around there. But it was airing on HBO or Showtime, one of them.
Showtime.
Showtime, right? And we recorded it on DVR. And at the time when I was a kid, my dad was like, "Oh, you don't remember this guy? He was in Friday After the Next." Like it was. I'm like, "No, I don't remember." And then when I watched your set, I was glued to it. I watched that entire stand-up. We recorded it, and every time I come home from school, I would watch the same stand-up set for like at least 12 times. My favorite was
Wow.
the Eugene Boyat Berakhsi.
If you've never been to a Persian party, here's the advice: if you ever go and you don't want to dance, get out of the room. Because they will track you down. You could be hanging out in the corner and be like, oh, look, the Persians are dancing. Whatever, I'm just going to hang out, have a pistachio, relax. Look, Eugene, come on, Eugene, come on. Like, no, I don't feel like it. Eugene, I don't feel. And then they start a chant, which basically translates to Eugene must dance. Eugene must dance. Yeah, they go, Eugene bayad berakhse. Eugene bayad berakhse. Yeah, you see that? You see that? You see that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm trying to make a point. They want you to dance right now. That's how crazy. There you go. Oh yeah. There you go. Look, beautiful. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Yes. That's how we roll. Did you see? It's with the clapping. You said you never danced, but you were dancing Persian.
Eugene,
yeah.
That one was my favorite. And every time we would, like, if I was in the shower, just randomly, Eugene it would just randomly pop up. What I liked about your style of comedy was that you include everybody in on the joke. And it's not, a lot of comics, what they'll do is if there's someone who's kind of not vibing with your joke, the comic will kind of just pick at them, but you do your best to try to pick on someone, but also include them in. Do you remember the last time where you walked into a crowd and you you're in like this, you're about to kill, but it ends up being a completely different mood, and now you have to use damage control, where like you feel like you're bombing?
Matter of fact, it was at the Haha where it's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram. If you watch it, I came up on stage, and the guy played some Persian music as I came up, and usually when I do the sets around town, I don't dance in the beginning of my set. I just go up and do it.
Right.
But since this was like, there was a lot of like Persians in the audience. There was these younger Persians in the audience, and this guy played Persian music, and the younger Persians were dancing and they were clapping. And so I went on stage, I started dancing. I'm clapping, and there's a guy in the front who's this Armenian guy, like Eastern European Armenian, not like Middle Eastern Armenian.
Yeah, got you.
So he's sitting there and he's just like not moving at all, just kind of staring. And then I clocked that. So then when I stopped, I go, "Thank you guys so much. This is amazing." I go, "I'm up here dancing, giving you my all, singing. You guys are clapping." And then I go, "And this motherfucker is sitting here looking at me." And the guy got offended. "No, you don't call me motherfucker. What?" And he wanted to like fight me.
Oh shit.
And yeah, I had a choice of either, telling him to shut the F up,
right,
or what I've been doing, which is I try to like Tai Chi that. Like I take that energy and I bring it down. So I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. That's not how I meant it." I get it. Because obviously I know the culture,
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't mean it. And I calmed him down. And actually Jack Jr., who's the son of the owners there, and he's also a very funny comedian. He came over and like
definitely
said,
seen him. He's the best. He's so funny.
Yeah, he said something to the guy too in Armenian, and the guy kind of calmed down. And then it was funny because later, as the show went on, I was doing this one bit, and I said, whatever, and I said, I'm doing the bit, and I go, and then I turned to the lady, I was like, "Hey, motherfucker," and then I look at the guy, I go, "Not you, sir, her," and then it just became a running gag. So the rest of the night, anybody that would come up would be like, "What's up, motherfuckers?" So yeah, that was one that you could watch it online if you go to my Instagram, or I might even have it on YouTube.
I'll put it on the episode. I'll put it on the episode.
Yeah, find it and put it on. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. But it worked.
Okay, good.
Here dancing, giving my heart. This motherfucker just sitting looking at me. One clap! Hold on, one clap! One clap! Come on, buddy! Oh, I'm joking. Come on, buddy, relax. I'm kidding with you. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Shake my hand. I'm so sorry. Come on, no, I'm serious. Buddy, I didn't mean it like that. Come on. Come on, buddy. I swear to God, I apologize. I'm sorry. My bad. I'm saying apologize. Listen, buddy, I swear to God. Calm down. I swear to God. Can I shake your hand? I didn't mean it like that. Hey, I respect you. Yeah. I hear you, buddy. I hear you. I hear, no, it's okay, Jack, it's okay. No, we're good. We're good. Buddy, it's all right. Hey, I didn't even mean it like that. I swear to God. I know. Asa's silent. I wanted Mohammed. She goes, you mean Mohammed? I go, there's no Kha, you motherfucker. Sorry, not you. The teacher. The teacher. The teacher. I swear to God. You know what you made me realize? I say motherfucker too much. I gotta stop saying it. My mom would be upset at me. I know, I mean to anybody, it's not a good thing, you know? I'm sure if my mother were here too, she'd be, listen to him, you fucking idiot, to me. My mother would love you. Stop cursing, you motherfucker. To me, my mother would say. To me, not to my mom, to me.
Your stand-up special for, I'm trying to see what the name was. I forgot the name for, was it Birds and the Bees, right? For
Yeah, Birds and the Bees was the one at the comedy, so that's my last special.
That's your last special. So that's available on YouTube to watch for free, right?
Yeah, that's on YouTube. They just put in the Birds and the Bees, or they put in MAZ Jobrani, and it'll come up.
Okay.
And then I've got on Netflix the special called Immigrant. They can watch that.
I love that one. I forgot to mention the second one. The Immigrant was the second stand-up special that you had that I absolutely loved. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, thank you. Well, so those are available on those places, and then the others, I don't know. The others, there's a lot of clips online.
Yeah.
And if people follow me on Instagram, I'm always posting clips.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting ready to release another one probably like in April or so. So I'm
Oh,
always
okay.
writing and I'm always getting on stage.
Okay, perfect. Did you have a podcast of your own at one point?
Yeah, I used to have a podcast. It was called Back to School with MAZ Jobrani.
Okay.
And it was
that's what
me
it
and
was.
it was me and Tehran, who's another very funny comedian who tours with me. And we would just bring people on that were interesting and we could learn from, and we would have them on. And we did it for a few years. And then once the pandemic ended and we got back to touring, we stopped doing it. And I do want to maybe resurrect a podcast. I don't know if I'll do that one or do a new one. But yeah, I'd like to do that. And before that, I had another one called Minivan Men with Al Madrigal and Chris Spencer.
Oh, shit.
Where we would talk about just being dads, and that one was really early, and we should have stuck with that one. We did,
right?
But yeah, man, I've done a couple now.
Yeah. Okay. So this is great. Then I can ask you this next question. So let's say you've resurrected your podcast. You can pick any 3 people that you can interview today on your episode as a guest. Who would you have as a guest episode? Any 3?
They have to be alive.
They can be.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm interested in a lot of stuff. I was actually just listening to Conan O'Brien interview Martin Short.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Martin Short is the funniest human being alive.
Genius.
So I would love to interview Martin Short.
Right.
I also love Conan O'Brien, so you may as well throw Conan O'Brien in there.
Conan O'Brien.
And then maybe Barack Obama.
Okay.
Let's start with those 3.
Okay.
And then we'll work our way from there to. There's so many talented, smart, interesting people out there. That I would love to talk to. There's an author named Arundhati Roy. She's out of India, Kerala. She wrote a book called The God of Small Things, and she's intellectual, she's smart, she's an activist. Love to interview her. That's why Back to School with MAZ Jobrani was what it was, because I was able to bring on people from all walks of life, right, and interview them. So you learn, and we're curious.
Yeah, that's a solid list. Love that list. My dream guest, because I love people from the Comedy Store, I would put Bobby Lee for sure. He's up there. But I love Bobby Lee. I grew up watching his Laugh Factory sets, but the guy doesn't want to put a stand-up show. He just doesn't want to do it. I would honestly put Thing up there. What's his name? Sebastian. I'd put Sebastian in there. And then Bill Burr. I want to pick at Bill Burr's brain.
Yeah, those are all great. Those are all great. And Bill does a lot of podcasts, and he's great. He's great on them.
Yeah.
But those are 3 solid guests. Yeah, they got a lot of stories, and they're funny people, and Yeah. That's a great list.
And thing too, I don't know if you've heard. Actually, I'm across Sebastian out just just because you said Conan. Conan means a lot more to me. I'm sorry if Sebastian's not gonna see this, but I'm just saying I'm probably gonna put Conan in there, and then I'll put Ali Sadiq. I don't know if you know who Ali Sadiq is.
Yeah, I know Ali as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ali
Those are
Sadiq
all talented, good people.
for
Yeah.
sure. Ali Sadiq for
Ali is a
sure.
deep human being.
Yep. Ali Sadiq's style of comedy is just it's kind of within the realm of Joey Diaz where they just tell life stories and
Yeah.
it's just somehow some way someone's gonna laugh, and that's just
Yeah.
it's just great. Oh, do you want to set up you want to throw your tour dates up?
Yeah, my tour dates are all at just mazjobrani.com, and I'm literally all over the world. So
Okay.
currently going to do a lot of Canada dates, doing some LA dates, Utah, everywhere, and
Okay.
then probably later this year I'll go back to the Middle East. I just was in Europe, so yeah, I'm constantly touring.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. I'll definitely. I'm just say this right now. Today's the 5th, right? At the time of this recording is the 5th. This will probably be out next Wednesday at the latest. So by that time, you would have already done.
Calgary.
Yeah, you would have done Calgary. You would do Vancouver on the 13th. You got Glendale, Alex Theater, February 14th, Valentine's Day, and then you got Ottawa, right? Ottawa? Yeah.
Ottawa.
My bad. Yeah, Ottawa. And that's on February 20th. I will screenshot this and I'll put it up so everyone could see.
Cool.
But I'll definitely make sure everyone gets your tickets. Before I say thank you and end it off here, do you know what your name means in Armenian?
Yeah. That's the joke. That's the joke. Come on. Hair.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was like
Yeah.
trying to find a way to ask you,
Yeah.
and if you had
I
said
used,
no,
I
it would
did
be
it.
so
I used
awkward.
to do a joke about. I'm surprised you haven't seen the joke. I did a joke about that, about how every Armenian would tell me that. It's
Was
pretty
that
funny.
was that the newest one that you had posted? Or this was a while back. Because I'm trying.
A
Because I
while
was
back.
looking through.
That's an older joke. I
That
haven't
was
done
an
it
older
recently.
one.
It's an older joke. Yeah.
Okay. So that was an older joke. Thank you so much, Maz, for coming on to the show. Thank you so much for actually taking the time out of your day to do this because you're very busy. And for someone who's like starting, I mean, I've done this podcast has been open for the past 2 years, but to have somebody that I used to watch and revere when I was growing up be on a podcast like this is just, it means the world to me, man. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, your busy schedule to join us for the Room 104
Thank
podcast.
you. Thank you for having me, and I hope you rise to the #1 podcast in the world.
Oh my God! Well,
keep
we'll
going,
see.
buddy. Keep going.
Thank
Right
you.
on.
I'm gonna actually sign us off with a nice dose of Bandari music. Where is it? I had it here. Hold on, my bad. This was.
Just sing
this-
it.
I can't sing it. I can't sing it to shit. But I just want to say thank you again, Maz. You're always welcome to this pod anytime you want. If you feel like you want to just jump in and say something's pissing you off, something's annoying you, and you want to get on a pod. You have my number, text me, text whoever. Just let me know, and I'll always make space for you, Maz. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Take care.
Thank you. Yalla.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you. Bye.
Yalla. Bye.
Holy shit, I can't breathe. Oh my fucking God. Maz Jobrani was on my fucking podcast, bitch. Yeah. Yeah. Maz Jobrani, baba, böyle دیگه. It wasn't working. Okay, we're signing off. Bye. Fuck! Holy shit! Holy fucking shit!